Recession is a tough time to innovate, but has some unique benefits. If you look at a lot of the data, on company performance coming out of a recession, companies that were able to sustain some level of innovation, during the recession came out, ahead. And there's some pretty simple reasons for that, right? I mean, you can get, a jump on your competitors. You have the opportunity to shape the new models that are coming out. And so you really get some competitive advantage. The second thing that I think is, important to a lot of this conversation is, if you look at, theories of kind of behavior change, Kurt Lewin, one of the founders of social psychology, has this theory that says that, basically, habits that consumers have get frozen in. There's some sort of external exogenous shock. There's a period where those behaviors get unfrozen and people experiment with new models, and then they very quickly get, sort of locked back in. And so a lot of what we're talking about, may require consumers to be open to new models, to adapt, some of their habits, be willing to trial and explore things. And it's very tough to do that, in sort of a status quo type of environment. But the type of a shock that we have right now has forced people to step back, question a lot of those behaviors, and display a degree of openness. And so, companies and contractors who can take advantage of that to trial new models and try different ways of engaging can get some benefit out of that. So I would say it's obviously tough. Resources are fewer, are not as available. But if you can find, efficient, focused ways of doing that, you can get some benefits. To your bigger question, I guess, on how you think about, when to innovate and change. I think there's a few fault lines that, if you see, cracks, opening up along a couple dimensions, it's worth a consideration. So if you see consumer needs or behaviors changing, I think that's important. If you see how the industry evaluates, performance, that's important. If you see a lot of signs that the structure of the industry may be changing, so vertical integration, disintermediation, new non-traditional competitors coming in, all of those, suggest that the industry may be at, some sort of precipice, for change. And if you see, fundamental changes in the business models in terms of, how companies create value or the resources and processes that are required to be successful changing, that also suggests that there's, some sort of fundamental, shift underway. And it's worthwhile to step back from, the current model and ask the question, is there a fundamentally different way to do this? Do we need to fundamentally, change our strategy to continue to be, relevant in that future world?